Choose wisely. That's the topic of today's video. Now, it's a simple quote and a simple idea, but I do have to give credit where credit's due. It was inspired by a quote that Michael Saylor said when he was on a popular news network not too long ago when the price of Bitcoin was at just about $100,000. And he made the point, hypothetically, that if someone were to sell one Bitcoin, if someone were to make the decision to sell one Bitcoin, say they owned and were in possession of one Bitcoin at $100,000, they were to sell that and go and buy a popular sports car like a Ferrari. When Michael Saylor then made the point of where Bitcoin's going, and Michael Saylor said that the price of Bitcoin will likely approach $6 million, he said about this individual hypothetically, he's like, well, if you're choosing to go buy that Ferrari today and the price of Bitcoin goes to $6 million, well, you traded in your one Bitcoin for one car. When it goes to $6 million, what Michael Saylor said was, well, choose wisely. So that puts a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Choose wisely now. Now you can choose to have a lot of foresight and think about your future self and put aside the mundane pleasures of today, invest in Bitcoin and make your future self very proud. You have that choice. You have to make a wise decision. So choose wisely. It's also widely and often said that you don't buy Bitcoin for your first name, you buy Bitcoin for your last name. And I really like that because it takes you out of yourself, sort of takes you out of your own selfish space right now. And you're really doing this for future generations. Hundreds of years from now, when people look back at you, they'll be like, wow, my great ancestor made such a shrewd decision. But what that takes now is a lot of research now and a lot of patience now and a lot of careful, methodical planning now. It's no surprise that about 95% of the world's Bitcoin is mined right now at this particular point in time. But, and don't quote me exactly on this number, but I believe I read that around roughly 5% of the world's population own Bitcoin. So 95% of the supply has been purchased and about 5% of the world own it. So that's a major disparity for a reason. The minority of people know about it. The masses aren't doing it. And ask yourself, is that really surprising? Ask yourself, how many people do you know that really operate at a truly exceptional high frequency? Like how many people are in an extremely differentiated high frequency or at a place of higher consciousness? Maybe you know a lot and you'd be really lucky, and that's great. That's beautiful. We want most of the world to be at that high conscious place. But ask yourself honestly in a quiet place, how many people actually, truly, sincerely operate at that high frequency? It's probably not a lot of people. Like how many people do you know as you walk around, or your friend circle, or even as you are just walking around in daily life, how many people are talking about super advanced high frequency topics? Or are most people talking about the mundane pleasures of life, going to this concert, eating this processed food, doing this easy thing? Again, if you happen to know a lot of people, that's awesome. I do think there's a lot of people in the world who operate at high frequency, but the law of large numbers, how many people do you genuinely know truly operate at that space? Most likely it's not going to be everyone that you know. Like how many people are reading really advanced concepts in books on a Friday night versus how many people are out drinking? So it's just some food for thought. This really reminds me of the idea in the law, another law from Michael Saylor, that information about Bitcoin is served on a need-to-know basis. So you don't need to proselytize. Bitcoin is served only to those who need to know. And what does it take for you to be someone who needed to know? Well, an action that you will live out is that you'll come to the table to learn about Bitcoin. If you had a need, like a diabetic or someone who's sick, you would need the cure. And you would not walk to the cure, you would run there. And so when people find out about how critically important Bitcoin is to their financial health and how their financial health is being poisoned, and their financial health is truly in a sick place because of what inflation is doing, what governments do when they print money, and how the entire monetary system is set up, as soon as they realize that they have a need, they will come to the table. So give them their time and understand that when it is their time, they will come running for the cure. They will come running for the solution. They won't walk. So you have the gift of time on your side now. What are you going to do with it? You've been given a gift. Choose wisely. 5%, as we mentioned, of the world of the people in the world's population, only 5% of them own Bitcoin. Be grateful that that delta exists, because that gives you an in right now. Again, Michael Saylor made the point, if Warren Buffett knew about Bitcoin, he would have bought it all and there'd be none for you. And more Fortune 500 companies are going to turn into Bitcoin treasury companies. They have billions and billions, up to trillions of dollars. They have deep pockets. So how fast is the supply going to run out before you go get some? Understand where the price is going. Have that future state mentality. Look ahead. Don't just be caught up in the current mundane pleasures of today, like most people are, operating at that regular frequency. Have you ever noticed that, and I had a friend describe it this way, he called the way that just the masses of people operate, he called it like that flavor of mediocrity. And he put like a word image, a sound to it. He said, it sounds like that constant refrigerator hum, just that refrigerator hum that you hear in the distance, that hum, that basic frequency of mediocrity. So ask yourself, do you want to be in that place? It's only up to you. No one can make the choice for you. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of people will disagree with you about Bitcoin. But again, to the point that we made, if the world's biggest money managers knew about Bitcoin, they would have gobbled it all up. So the way I've been seeing it lately is when anyone disagrees with me, I take time in a quiet space to go retreat and do my own thinking, go into a place of a private, place of solitude, and I go try to acquire more Bitcoin. I log in and I go try to buy more Bitcoin, because for me, when people disagree with me, that's a value opportunity. That, for me, I've been calling it in my life. I'm like, when someone disagrees with me, when someone is vehemently shows that they don't get Bitcoin and they hate on it and they disagree with me and they talk negatively about Bitcoin, I have zero response for them, no negativity whatsoever. But that's the bat signal. That the signal just lit up in the sky. That's my opportunity. That's my in. They don't know yet. It's going to be gobbled up by the world's biggest institutional investors with trillions of dollars. Oh my goodness, my neighbor doesn't know about it. I tried to tell them, I tried to spread abundance. They didn't want to listen. That's the bat signal. That's my in to go get more, go accumulate more. So continue to do your research, consider the deeper things. And I'll leave it on this note. A very wise book once said that broad and spacious is the average road. And most people travel down that broad and spacious path because it's the easy thing to do. But few people travel down that difficult, very narrow, high conscious path. Now, if you ever took a stats class in college, remember the bell curve, the statistics class, the bell curve, right? Why are most things operating at an average place? Why does the middle of the bell curve bulge so large and the tails are minuscule and tiny? Because most people don't operate at the tails at a really exceptional place. Most people are average. Average is average for a reason, because most people find themselves in that mediocre average place. It's not to put anyone down, it's a mathematical law. That's why the bell curve bulges so widely, so unbelievable. There's so much disparity in the middle. It's so fat because most people operate at that average place. And again, average is average for a reason. Most people dwell there. If you want to be exceptional, you're going to be at that tiny, tiny, tiny tail end at the ends. So take that idea, do with it what you may, and use your time in a smart way now and choose wisely.